I'm Maya, and I used to believe my husband Derek was the love of my life. That belief shattered the moment our daughter Lily was born, with a port wine-stained birthmark across her left cheek. What is that? Derek stared at our baby girl in the hospital bassinet, his voice cold. The doctor said it's a birthmark, I explained, still exhausted from delivery. It's completely harmless. Lots of babies have them. Harmless? He stepped back from the bassinet. Maya, look at her face. How is she supposed to live with that? Derek, she's beautiful. The birthmark doesn't change that. I can't do this. He grabbed his jacket. I need some air. He didn't come back that night, or the next. When I finally got home with Lily, his mother Patricia was waiting in our driveway. Maya, dear, we need to talk, Patricia said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Where's Derek? I asked, carrying Lily's car seat. He's staying with us, temporarily. She glanced at Lily and grimaced. He's very upset about the baby's condition. Condition? She has a birthmark, Patricia. It's not a disease. Derek works in finance. Image matters in his industry. Patricia crossed her arms. He can't have people asking questions about why his daughter looks different. Get off my property, I said quietly. You're being unreasonable. Derek is willing to provide minimal support, but he can't be seen with that child in public. Minimal support? He's her father. Biology doesn't make someone a father, Maya. Commitment does. And Derek has decided he can't commit to raising a marked child. She turned and walked away. 2 weeks later, I received divorce papers. Derek was demanding full custody termination and offering me $500 a month in child support. $500? My sister Jessica read the papers over my shoulder. His car payment is more than that. He wants to pretend Lily doesn't exist, I said, tears streaming down my face. What are you going to do? I looked at my daughter, sleeping peacefully. I'm going to fight. You need a lawyer, a good one. I can't afford. Yes, you can. Remember Derek's partner, Robert Chen? The one who left the firm to do family law? You think he'd take my case? Jessica pulled out her phone. Let's find out. 3 days later, I sat in Robert Chen's office, Lily in my arms. Tell me everything, Robert said, his expression serious. I explained Derek's abandonment, his mother's manipulation, the insulting support offer. And he's never even held her? Robert asked. Not once. He looked at her birthmark and walked out of the hospital. Robert leaned forward. Maya, I worked with Derek for 5 years. I know exactly how much he makes, and I know he's the type to hide assets. If you're willing to fight, I'll help you take him for everything he's got. I don't want revenge, I said. I want my daughter to have what she deserves. Sometimes, Robert said with a slight smile. Justice and revenge look the same. Let's get started. Robert wasted no time investigating Derek's finances. I found 3 offshore accounts, Robert said during our meeting 2 weeks later. Derek transferred almost $2 million the day before he filed for divorce. $2 million? How did you... I still have friends at his firm. Derek got sloppy. He used the company's transfer system. Robert slid documents across his desk. But there's more. What else? His mother Patricia owns a property management company. Derek's been funneling money through it for months. He planned this abandonment before Lily was even born. Jessica, who'd come with me, gasped. He was planning to leave her? The ultrasounds showed the birthmark, Robert explained. Faint but visible. Derek started hiding assets the week after that appointment. That bastard, Jessica muttered. Language, I said, then looked at Robert. Can we prove this? We can, and we will. But I need you to do something for me, Maya. I need you to try contacting Derek. Record everything. Why would I? Because he's arrogant. He thinks you're helpless. Let him talk. Let him explain why he abandoned his daughter. His own words will bury him. That evening, I called Derek. What do you want, Maya? His voice was annoyed. I want to understand. Why did you leave us? Us? There is no us. There's you and that baby with the defect. She's your daughter, Derek. She has your eyes. She has a stain on her face that will make people stare at our family. Do you know what my colleagues said when they heard? They asked if everything was okay with the baby, like she's damaged. So you're embarrassed? I'm being practical. I can't build my career with people pitying me for having a disfigured child. She's not disfigured. She's perfect. To you, maybe. Look, I'm offering you support. $500 a month. Take it and move on. $500 won't even cover her daycare.
Not my problem. You wanted to keep her. You deal with the consequences. My mother was right. I should have pushed for other options when we found out about the birthmark.
Other options? You mean?
I'm done with this conversation. Accept the offer or get nothing. He hung up. I stopped the recording and looked at Jessica, who had tears streaming down her face.
He called her disfigured, Jessica whispered. I know. He suggested you shouldn't have had her. I know. I clutched my phone. But now we have everything we need. The next day, Robert listened to the recording with a grim expression. This is perfect, he said. Morally disgusting, but legally perfect. Combined with the hidden assets and the prenatal planning, we can destroy him. What's our next move? I asked. We file for emergency child support based on his actual income, not his reported income. Then we expose the offshore accounts. Then we go after his mother for conspiracy to defraud. His mother? She helped him hide assets through her company. She's legally liable. Robert pulled out more documents. I also found something interesting. Derek's firm has a morality clause. Abandoning your newborn child for cosmetic reasons might qualify as grounds for termination. Jessica leaned forward. Can we use that? Not directly, but if it becomes public knowledge, Robert smiled. Sometimes information has a way of spreading. Do it, I said firmly. Whatever it takes. The emergency hearing was set for 3 weeks later. Derek showed up with his lawyer, Martin Cross, looking confident. Your Honor, Martin began, my client is offering generous support. $500 a month is not generous, Mr. Cross, Judge Richardson interrupted. Not when your client makes $400,000 annually. Derek's face went pale. How did you? We have financial records, Mr. Walters, the judge said coldly. Would you like to explain the $2 million in offshore accounts? Martin turned to Derek. You told me you made $100,000. There's an explanation. There's also recorded conversations, Robert said, standing. Would you like to hear Mr. Walters explain why he abandoned his infant daughter because of her birthmark? That's out of context, Derek shouted. Then provide context, Judge Richardson said. Explain to this court why you left your wife and newborn child. Derek looked at Martin, who shook his head. The baby has a facial birthmark, Derek finally said. It's significant. And, the judge prompted, and it would impact my career, my professional image. Mr. Walters, are you telling me you abandoned your daughter because you're embarrassed by her appearance? Your Honor, my client, Martin tried to intervene. I'm asking your client directly. Derek's jaw clenched. Yes, I couldn't handle being the father of a disfigured child. The courtroom went silent. For the record, Robert said quietly, Lily has a port wine stain birthmark. It's completely harmless and common. I've heard enough, Judge Richardson said. Mr. Cross, your client lied about his income, hid assets offshore, and planned this abandonment before the child was born. Martin stood slowly. Your Honor, I was not aware of these circumstances. I'd like to request a continuance. Denied. We're settling this today. She turned to Derek. Mr. Walters, you're going to pay Ms. Maya $3,000 monthly in child support, retroactive to Lily's birth. You'll surrender the offshore accounts to be placed in a trust for your daughter's future. You'll also pay Ms. Maya's legal fees and compensate her for emotional distress, $250,000. That's insane! Derek jumped up. Sit down. You will have 0 custody rights, no visitation, no contact with Lily unless she, as an adult, chooses to reach out. And I'm forwarding these proceedings to the state bar for review. Derek's face turned red. This is because of that recording. You called your infant daughter disfigured and defective. You admitted to abandoning her for cosmetic reasons. You hid millions. You did this to yourself, Mr. Walters. Patricia stood from the gallery. Your Honor, my son was under extreme stress. Mrs. Walters, sit down. Your involvement in helping your son hide assets will be addressed separately. The state is investigating you for conspiracy to defraud and tax evasion. Patricia went white. What? Derek turned to me with desperation. Maya, please, we can work this out. I made a mistake. The court has ruled, Mr. Walters, Judge Richardson said. You're dismissed. 2 months later, I sat in Robert's office for our final meeting. The checks have been depositing like clockwork, Robert said. Derek's firm also fired him after the court transcript leaked. What about Patricia? I asked. She's facing state charges. She'll likely take a plea deal involving significant fines and probation.
Good, Jessica said. She encouraged Derek to abandon Lily. My phone rang. It was Derek. Put it on speaker, Robert said. Let's hear what he has to say. I answered. What do you want, Derek? Maya, please. I need to talk to you. I lost everything. My job, my reputation. I can't even get interviews anymore. Can I see Lily? I want to apologize. I looked at Robert and Jessica. They both shook their heads. No, I said simply. No? Maya, she's my daughter too. You lost that right when you walked out of the hospital. I was angry. I was scared. Please, give me a chance. You had your chance. You had 9 months to prepare. You had the ultrasound. You had the hospital room. Instead, you planned to abandon us and hide your money. The court took everything. I'm paying $3,000 a month. You mean the court forced you to support your own child? That's not generosity, Derek. That's justice. My career is destroyed. Your career is destroyed because your colleagues learned what kind of person you are. That's not my fault. That's yours. Robert leaned forward and whispered, Tell him about the trust fund. Derek, do you know what Lily's trust fund will be worth when she turns 18? The offshore accounts you set up? The judge put all that money in a trust for Lily. With compound interest, she'll have over $3 million. Silence on the other end. You tried to hide money to avoid supporting her, and instead, you funded her entire future. Maya, I'm begging you, let me see her. Why? So you can reject her again when people stare? So you can make her feel bad about herself? You looked at your perfect, healthy baby girl and decided she wasn't good enough. Lily deserves better than you. Please. Goodbye, Derek. Don't call again. I hung up and turned to Robert. Can you send a cease and desist? Absolutely. Any contact beyond child support payments is harassment. Do it. Jessica hugged me. I'm so proud of you. Robert pulled out final paperwork. This officially closes your case. Derek will continue payments until Lily turns 18. Patricia pleaded guilty. 2 years probation and $100,000 in fines. Derek's working retail now, making about $30,000 a year. Good, I said without hesitation.
And you made the right choice, Robert said. You chose to fight for your daughter. You chose justice. Will Lily ever ask about her father? Jessica wondered. Probably, I admitted. And when she does, I'll tell her the truth. I'll tell her that some people couldn't see her beauty, but that was their failing, not hers. I'll tell her she was always wanted, always loved, and always worth fighting for. What about when Derek tries to contact her when she's older? Jessica asked. The court order is clear, Robert explained. He has no rights until she's 18. If she chooses to reach out as an adult, that's her decision. Will you tell her about the birthmark? Robert asked gently. About why he left? I'll tell her that some people judge based on appearances, and her father was one of them. But I'll also tell her that her birthmark is part of what makes her special. Jessica wiped tears. She's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have her. Robert stood and extended his hand. It's been an honor working with you, Maya. You fought back the right way, through the courts, with evidence, with dignity. I shook his hand. Thank you for believing in us. As we left, Jessica turned to me. What now? Now we live our lives. Lily starts daycare next month. I'm going back to work. We build a life that Derek doesn't get to be part of. Do you ever regret fighting so hard? Not for a second. My daughter deserved a father who would love her unconditionally. Since Derek couldn't be that person, she deserves the resources and stability that fighting gave us. That evening I held Lily as she fell asleep. Her birthmark caught the light, a beautiful burgundy mark across her cheek. You are perfect, I whispered. Don't let anyone ever tell you different. She smiled in her sleep, and I knew every fight had been worth it. Have you ever faced someone who rejected your child or judged your family based on appearances? What would you have done in my situation? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.